I want to begin with a reading from Margaret Rankel's book, Late Migrations, A Natural History of Love and Loss. The piece is entitled, Still. I pause to check the milkweed, and a caterpillar halts mid-bite, its face lowered to the leaf. I walk down my driveway at dusk, and the cottontail under the pine tree freezes. Not a single twitch of ear or nose. On the roadside, the doe stands immobile, as still as the trees that rise above her. My car passes. Her soft nose doesn't quiver. Her soft flanks don't rise or fall. A current of air stirs only the hairs at the very tip of her tail. I peek between the branches of the holly bush, and the redbird nestling looks straight at me, motionless, unblinking. Every day, the world is teaching me what I need to know to be in the world. In the stir of too much motion, hold still, be quiet, listen. Hold still, be quiet, listen. This is sometimes easier than said than done, for sure. With the swirl of life happening around us and the many concerns and worries that we hold in our minds and hearts, it can be hard sometimes to be in our own bodies, let alone still or quiet or listening. But this is what my sabbatical last spring and summer gifted me. Opportunities while I was in motion to hold still, to embrace and to be embraced by quiet, and to deeply listen to the wisdom of others, for the wisdom of spirit, and to listen to myself. Many of you have asked about my sabbatical and expressed the wish to hear more about it. And while I'll share a bit this morning, it's difficult to encapsulate all that I experienced during my 6 months away. I will offer several adult faith development gatherings in the coming months to share with more depth about my experiences, specifically about my pilgrimage last May to the island of Iona in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland. This morning, I am so glad to be here with you and to share more broadly about my experiences. As we sang in our opening hymn, Sing Out Praises for the Journey, we are, each of us, pilgrims on this journey called life. My sabbatical was a time of intentional pilgrimage for me, a time of unfolding, releasing, dreaming, and returning. One of the most significant aspects was stepping away from the daily responsibilities of church life. This is harder to do than you might imagine. As you know, I care deeply about this congregation, about you. I love you all. It was difficult to walk out the door knowing that I would not step back into our building. I would not see you or be with you for any significant amount of time. It was humbling to know that I would be changed when I returned, and that you too would be different. It was as if I were embarking on a journey, getting into my little boat and sailing away to points known and unknown, and that when I returned, it would be we would be different and the same. It would be, for me, like arriving in my little boat to a somewhat different shoreline. The beautiful poem, Love After Love by Derek Walcott, captures it like this. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome. So as we meet each other here today on this somewhat different shoreline, I wonder if you might be feeling a little bit like this. Yeah? Right? Are you feeling it? I know, I can really relate. We are returning to each other in challenging times. Anxiety abounds over the upcoming election, ongoing fighting and wars around the globe, climate catastrophe and severe storms, flooding and destruction. It's a lot. And there is also what we carry closer to home in our hearts and in our minds and in our bodies, our own health or health issues, safety, and the well-being for ourselves as well as for those that we love. Things like bills and the costs of food and shelter and transportation can weigh on us and keep us awake at night. And as we move more fully into autumn, the season brings shorter periods of daylight. And wow, our recent 2 weeks of gray skies and rain, although nothing like our neighbors to the south, it was hard. It was really hard. We can see how it's impacting those around us. Can you feel how it's impacting you too? I know I can. I find myself restless, unsettled. Sometimes I am just a mess. Ask my wife, Karen. And I see how these kinds of stresses are impacting others. I hear them name it, and I see it in our children and their behaviors too. It's a lot. So, my friends, what do we do? What can we do? What can help us keep our steadiness? What can help us stay more grounded and connected, even with all the angst occurring around us and within us? Well, my first suggestion, as the gentleman in our video clip reminds us with the grace of humor, is to put away our mops and our buckets. Put it away. You cannot mop up the sea. I cannot mop up the sea. And if you aren't able to put your mop away, try at least to catch yourself when you're attempting to fix or change things that are beyond your control. Put away our mops and buckets. As Margaret Rankle so beautifully said in our reading, in the stir of too much motion, hold still. Be quiet. Listen. Here is something that I offer you from my sabbatical that might help. Try identifying and staying connected with talismans from your life. Talismans that help you hold still, or be quiet, or listen. By talisman, I mean something that serves to help reconnect you with what is of ultimate importance to you. something that helps ground you or soothe you or center you. Something that reminds you of who you are at your best self or symbolizes who or what you love. To help identify your talismans, you might ask yourself, what during fraught times reconnects me to learnings or peace when I am disconnected? And then listen. What wisdom do you have to offer yourself? The good news is you can have more than one talisman. Your talisman might be to focus on your breath, to meditate, to pray. You might have helpful or tender things at the ready that you say to yourself, like, I can do hard things, or I am not alone, or there is a love holding me, holding all. There might be a song or a chant you sing in your head or out loud. There can also be tangible things that serve as talismans, touchstones or reminders to ground you and to connect you. Here are some talismans that are helping me stay connected to the learnings from my sabbatical time. The cap I bought in Costa Rica, where I took my family last February at the start of my sabbatical. When I wear it, it reminds me of our time together, just the three of us, on that incredibly special trip where we tried new things together, savored beauty, were filled with wonder, where we laughed and created memories to last a lifetime. Other talismans that are tangible for me are rocks. You might not know how much I can be like a crow looking for shiny treasures or a kid in a candy store when it comes to looking for rocks. So here are some of the rocks I collected on my trips. Yes, my suitcase got heavier with rocks and with books that I couldn't resist along my journey. But aren't they beautiful? One of the things that I did on my sabbatical was learn a little bit about hand polishing stones. I spent time beside Lake Michigan with my sister, where I learned about Petoskey stones, and I hand polished one of my own. And on Iona, there is a tradition of searching for beautiful white marble and green serpentine stones that wash up on the beach. Here's a photo of two of the stones that I hand polished: a Petoskey stone from Michigan and a stone of marble and serpentine that I brought home from Iona. Iona locals have a practice of placing little marble serpentine stone treasures at the end of their driveways, with a jar inviting people to choose a stone and make a donation that goes to the local fire and rescue squad. It was during a walk on the island with our pilgrimage group that I found a very special little stone in one of these places that looked to me like a butterfly chrysalis. I was immediately drawn to it, and I made my donation and tucked this special stone in my pocket. An artisan on the island has a business making found stones into pendants. She did this and created a necklace for me that I wear as a talisman. Touching this stone as I wear it can take me right back to the beauty and the peace of Iona and my time there. It helps strengthen and restore my equanimity. So what about you? What might be your talismans for these times that we are living in? What do you already have that might be a talisman in your life that you perhaps haven't identified in this way before? I hope that you will take time to explore this idea for yourself and find some practices or objects that can work with or for you. I want to take us back to our story this morning, Rabbit's Search for God, because it too connects with my sabbatical time. Like Rabbit, I went on a journey in search of greater understanding of myself and of the universe, a journey full of questions, new understandings, meeting new people, exploring different ways of being in the world, and looking to reconnect with spirit and myself. I went far and wide. I did many things, and I read many books. I reconnected with parts of myself that I have neglected over the years. I drove myself in my little car to Duluth, Minnesota and back for a life review retreat with a retired UU minister. And I went to Scotland and stretched myself in all kinds of ways, including driving on the left side of the road. An aspect of the pilgrimage on Iona included visual journaling through a soul collage practice. Over the course of the week, we each made 3 soul collage cards that together form a triptych. As I worked with the ideas inside me and the images available for collaging, these are the cards that I created. The first one speaks of stepping into the goo that is part of being in liminal space and preparing for transformation. It shows a figure inside a chrysalis in the act of transformation while submerged in the goo that is part of the process. Behind is a background of brambles and chaos. The second card reflects insight and wisdom I received during a powerful ritual that was part of the pilgrimage. This card's symbolism is about opening to the gifts of vulnerability and not overprotecting my heart. Out of the many rocks, a Buddha-like hand holds a small golden heart, while an oyster catcher, a prominent bird on Iona, looks on, and the waves of the ocean are nearby. The third card has a doorway positioned over a magical forest glen and a river alight with the glow from fireflies. Dragonflies flit around, and the lintel over the door has inviting bright yellow flowers and other floral decorations. And this card's doors open to reveal the image of a wise woman glowing in the light and holding a butterfly, transformed by its journey. This is the wise woman I aspire to be during the final chapter of my life. These soul collage cards are here on the altar, and you're welcome to come and take a closer look at them after the service. I share these images with you to offer a glimpse into my inner life and to share some of the work that I was doing while I was away. Like Rabbit in our story, I went out in search of a deeper understanding of and connection to myself and to something larger than myself. Like Rabbit, I too returned home after having had many significant experiences and encounters. In returning home, I returned to myself. I returned to my family that I love so much, and I returned to our beloved congregation, to you. And what were the beacons that guided me back? Well, my love of this beautiful place on the planet where we are so fortunate to live. It is the beacon of the Blue Ridge Mountains and the home that I have created here with my family that called me home. It is the guiding light of relationships that I have here with beloveds and the renewed relationship I have with myself. and you, this congregation, this community that we create together again and again, ever widening the circle of welcome and inclusion. The beacon is so important and meaningful, this beacon of work that we do together to help make the world a more loving, just, peaceful, healthy, and healing place where all may thrive. We may not be able to mop up the ocean, friends, but there are so many things that we can do together, both together and as individuals, that make a difference. It matters to me that we are here for and with each other. It matters to me how we put love at the center, we center it in our faith, and take action together. Finally, here is a soul collage card that I made this summer as I was beginning to shift and to turn from outward explorations back towards the land. My little boat is small, yet it sailed me home. It sailed me to the same, yet a changed shoreline. For I have changed, and you have changed, grown and transformed too. And I am so happy to be here with you at the UU congregation of Charlottesville, returning to you filled with gratitude for the time away and renewed to take up the call together once again. Amen, and blessed be. Before we sing our closing hymn, I have a little something that I'd like to give everyone who's here in the sanctuary. And if you're joining us online this morning and you would like one, send me an email and we'll figure out how to get one to you. I chose Blue Boat Home for our closing hymn because it feels so right to sing about all of us sailing together on our beautiful earth, our home. And when I thought of what might serve as a talisman to help remind us of each other and the love that connects and sustains us, I thought about how a marble can look like the earth from space. So today I have marbles for you, and they're of many colors. Some look like the cosmos and are black and mysterious, and some look like the earth. So as we sing now together, the ushers will move about, passing the bowls, and you're invited to choose a marble to take with you. May it remind you that you are loved, that you are not alone, and that you matter, and that together we can do hard things, and we can be a beacon of light and love in a world that so desperately needs hope and healing.